After claiming me, the alien fox girl revealed our future together. The midnight encounter. Marcus Chen wiped the dust from his geological scanner, frustrated by another day of mundane rock samples. The mining outpost of Crystal 7 was supposed to be his big break, a chance to study the planet's unique temporal crystals. Instead, he'd spent 3 months cataloging ordinary minerals while the restricted caverns remained tantalizing off-limits. Tonight, curiosity won over caution. Marcus slipped past the automated security, descending into the forbidden crystal caves where luminescent formations cast dancing shadows on ancient walls. The air hummed with energy, making his skin tingle as he ventured deeper. Then he saw her. She stood in a shaft of moonlight filtering through a natural skylight, and Marcus forgot to breathe. Her features were elegantly humanoid yet distinctly other, amber eyes that seemed to hold galaxies, a graceful face framed by russet golden fur that shimmered like autumn leaves catching sunlight. Her lithe form moved with fluid confidence as she turned to face him, and her expression held neither surprise nor fear. "You came," she said, her voice melodic and warm. "I have been waiting, Marcus Chen." His heart hammered. "How do you know my name?" She stepped closer, and he noticed how the crystal light seemed to gather around her. "I know many things about you. I am Vayara of the Kethra people. And you, Marcus, are mine." The declaration should have sounded absurd, even threatening. Instead, something deep within him responded, a recognition he couldn't explain. Vayara extended her hand, revealing a crystalline token on her palm. It pulsed with soft blue light, matching the sudden warmth blooming in his chest. "This cannot be real," he whispered, even as he found himself drawn toward her. Vayara's smile was gentle, understanding. "Your mind resists what your heart already knows. We are bound, Marcus, by destiny, by the ancient rights of my people, by forces older than your colony or my tribe." She took his hand, and the crystal's glow intensified. "I have claimed you as my partner, and the stars themselves have blessed this union." Marcus stared at their joined hands, feeling the undeniable current flowing between them, visions of tomorrow. Marcus should have pulled away, should have dismissed this as hallucination from crystal radiation. Instead, he let Vayara guide him deeper into the cavern, where massive formations created a natural cathedral of light. "My people possess a gift," Vayara explained, her thumb tracing gentle circles on his palm. "We see the threads of possibility, the paths that futures may take. When we find our bonded one, we can share these visions." Bonded one. Marcus's voice was barely audible. "Vayara, I don't understand any of this." She turned to face him fully, her amber eyes searching his. "Then let me show you." When she placed her other hand against his chest, warmth flooded through him. The cavern dissolved into cascading images, vivid as memories yet untouched by time. He saw himself and Vayara standing before a council of both humans and Kethra, translating between worlds. He saw them navigating a collapsing tunnel, her strength and his knowledge saving them both. He saw quiet moments in a dwelling built between two cultures, her head resting on his shoulder as twin moons rose outside. And he saw love, deep, transformative, real. The visions faded, leaving Marcus breathless. That's impossible." "Is it?" Vayara moved closer, until he could feel her breath on his skin. "Your people came to this world seeking resources. Mine have watched from the forests and mountains, uncertain of your intentions. But the crystals showed me you, Marcus. They showed me the bridge we would build together." Her hand moved to his face, fingers trailing along his jaw with surprising tenderness. Marcus felt his resistance crumbling under the weight of what he'd witnessed and the magnetic pull between them. "I'm just a geologist," he protested weakly. "Why me?" "Because you see beauty in stones that others ignore. Because you came seeking understanding, not conquest. Because your heart is open even when your mind doubts." Vayara leaned closer, her forehead nearly touching his. "And because when I first saw you through the crystal sight, I knew I would love you until the stars themselves grow cold." Marcus's hand rose tentatively to touch her face, his fingers sinking into the impossibly soft fur along her cheek. She leaned into his touch with a contented sound that made his heart race. "This is insane," he breathed. "Perhaps." Her smile was radiant. "Will you let me show you more?" The proving journey. Dawn found Marcus hiking through terrain no human had documented, following Vayara through silver-barked forests where the trees hummed with quiet songs. She'd explained that her people's bonding required a 3-day journey, proving that partners could face hardship together. "Nervous?" Vayara asked, glancing back at him with playful eyes. "Terrified," Marcus admitted. "I left a note saying I was checking perimeter sensors. When I don't report back, then we move forward quickly." She caught his hand, pulling him up a steep incline with surprising strength. "Tell me about your world, Marcus. The one you left behind." As they traveled, he spoke of Earth, cities of glass and steel, oceans he'd studied as a student, family gatherings under familiar constellations. Vayara listened with genuine fascination, asking questions that revealed her sharp intelligence. In turn, she shared stories of Kethra culture, how her people lived in harmony with Crystalese Seven's rhythms, how they marked seasons by crystal bloom cycles, how bonding was considered sacred because it happened so rarely and so powerfully. "How many of your people find they're bonded?" Marcus asked as they navigated a narrow canyon. "Few. Perhaps 1 in 100 lifetimes." Vayara's expression grew serious. "Which is why, when the bond appears, we cannot ignore it. To reject one's destined partner is to reject the universe's greatest gift." That evening, they made camp beneath an overhang as rain began to fall, crystalline droplets that glowed softly before soaking into the ground. Marcus built a small fire while Vayara prepared food from her pack, a companionable silence settling between them. "Come here," she said softly once they'd eaten, patting the space beside her. Marcus moved closer, and Vayara wrapped a thermal blanket around them both, her warmth seeping into him. She fit perfectly against his side, her head finding his shoulder as naturally as breathing. "In my visions," she murmured, "we have many nights like this. Some filled with adventure, others with simple peace. All of them precious." Marcus's arm encircled her, holding her close. "I'm starting to believe you." She tilted her face up to his, amber eyes reflecting firelight. "Only starting." The kiss happened without conscious decision, a natural culmination of the connection building between them. Her lips were soft and warm, and when she made a small sound of contentment, Marcus pulled her closer, one hand tangling gently in the fur at the nape of her neck. When they finally parted, both breathing harder, Vayara smiled against his mouth. The visions did not do justice to how that would feel. Marcus laughed quietly, amazed at how right this felt despite its impossibility. Hearts across the stars. The journey back to the outpost proved more difficult than leaving. Commander Whitmore had noticed Marcus's absence, and security drones now patrolled the perimeter with aggressive efficiency. Marcus and Vayara crouched in the forest's edge as searchlights swept past. "I should go alone," Marcus said. "Explain everything. They might listen." "No." Vayara gripped his hand firmly. "We face this together, or not at all." They waited until shift change created a gap in surveillance, then moved swiftly toward the residential sector. Marcus's quarters were small but private, or so he thought until Commander Whitmore appeared in his doorway moments after they entered. The commander's face cycled from shock to anger as he registered Vayara's presence. "Chen, what the hell have you done?" "Unauthorized exit, fraternization with indigenous life forms." "She's not a life form, she's a person," Marcus interrupted, stepping protectively closer to Vayara. "Commander, please. The Kethra aren't hostile. They've been observing us, waiting to see if we can be trusted." "Trusted?" Whitmore's laugh was harsh. "We have protocols for first contact, Chen. Not romantic entanglements with aliens. This ends now. Security." Vayara moved forward, her posture regal despite the threat. "Commander Whitmore, your protocols were designed for contact you initiated. My people initiated this, through me, through the bond one share with Marcus. We are offering something your rules never anticipated: partnership." "Partnership?" The commander's hand moved to his sidearm. "You expect me to believe this isn't some manipulation? Some way to compromise our operation?" Marcus felt Vayara tense, but her voice remained steady. The crystals you mine are sacred to my people. We have watched you take them, wondering if you understood their significance. Marcus understands. Through him, through what we are building together, there is hope for real cooperation between our peoples. She's telling the truth, Marcus added urgently. Commander, I've seen it, visions of what we could accomplish together. The Kethera have knowledge of this planet we desperately need, and they're willing to share it, if we prove we can respect their ways. Whitmore wavered, conflict clear in his expression. And your way of respecting involves seducing our staff. The bond chooses, we do not, Vayara said quietly. I did not seek Marcus to manipulate your people. I sought him because the universe itself declared him mine, and I his. Love is not a weapon, Commander. It is a bridge. The silence stretched unbearably. Finally, Whitmore lowered his hand from his weapon. You have 48 hours to prove this isn't a security threat, Chen. And she doesn't leave your sight. If this goes wrong, both of you face consequences. After he left, Marcus pulled Vayara into his arms, relief flooding through him. She clung to him, and he felt slight tremors running through her frame. You were afraid, he whispered against her hair. Terrified, she admitted. Not for myself, for us. For what we represent. She pulled back to meet his eyes. Marcus, I need you to be certain. Truly certain. Because if we continue this path, there is no returning to your old life. He cupped her face tenderly, his thumbs brushing across her cheeks. I've never been more certain of anything. A future written in starlight. The bonding ceremony took place deep within the crystal caverns, where Vayara's people had gathered in numbers that staggered Marcus. Dozens of Kethera stood in reverent silence, their luminous forms creating a living constellation around the central chamber. Elder Thessa, her silver fur marking her age and wisdom, performed the ancient rites. Marcus wore traditional Kethera woven garments, feeling simultaneously nervous and more right than he ever had in his colony uniform. Vayara stood opposite him, radiant in ceremonial adornments that caught and amplified the crystal light. Marcus Chen of Earth, Thessa intoned, do you accept the bond that fate has woven? Do you pledge to honor Vayara, to walk beside her through all futures, to be the bridge between your people and hers? I do, Marcus said, his voice strong despite his racing heart. With everything I am. Thessa turned to Vayara. And you, daughter of the Kethera, do you claim this human as your bonded, knowing the challenges you will face, the worlds you must balance, the prejudice you must overcome? I claim him, Vayara responded, her amber eyes never leaving Marcus's face. As I claimed him in vision, as I claim him in flesh, as I will claim him in every lifetime the stars may grant us. They clasped hands, and the crystals around them erupted in brilliant light. Marcus felt the bond settle into place, not as chains, but as wings. Through it, he sensed Vayara's emotions, her joy, her love, her absolute certainty that they were meant for this. When they kissed, the assembled Kethera sang in harmonies that made the crystals resonate, creating music that transcended species and language. Later, in the dwelling they would now share, built half in human style, half in Kethera tradition, Marcus held his wife close as the twin moons rose outside their window. Commander Whitmore had grudgingly approved their union after witnessing the ceremony, recognizing its diplomatic significance. The real work would begin tomorrow, negotiations, cultural exchanges, building the bridge Vayara had always known they would create. No regrets. Vayara asked softly, her fingers tracing idle patterns on his chest. Marcus turned to capture her mouth in a slow, deep kiss that conveyed what words could not. When they parted, he smiled against her lips. Only that I didn't find you sooner. She laughed, the sound like crystal chimes in wind. The universe has perfect timing, beloved. We met exactly when we were meant to. As they lay intertwined, Marcus realized the visions Vayara had shown him were already beginning to manifest, not as rigid fate, but as possibilities shaped by their choices. Together, they would face opposition and triumph, loneliness and belonging, the mundane and the extraordinary. But they would face it together, two souls bound across the stars, proving that love could emerge anywhere, even in the most unexpected galaxies, between the most unlikely partners. Their story was just beginning, written in starlight and sealed with devotion that would endure until the crystals themselves turned to dust. Lessons in starlight. True love recognizes no boundaries, not of species, world, or expectation. It finds us when we are brave enough to see beyond the familiar and accept the extraordinary gifts the universe offers. Destiny may guide us toward connection, but love is built through choice, courage, and the daily decision to honor our bond even when the path grows difficult. Sometimes the bridges we build between worlds begin in the simple act of opening our hearts to someone different from ourselves, trusting that understanding can flourish where fear once dwelt. The greatest adventures are not found in distant planets or alien landscapes, but in the sacred space between two souls who choose each other against all odds, creating a future neither could have imagined alone.